What's happening, Andy here? I'm joined today by Eric Cayton of Canon USA. How are you, Eric?
I'm great, Andy. Great to be here today.
Good to see you. What's happening with you? First, where are you today in that sunny little background you got? I see some sun shining through. We got a little here in Rochester. Where are you today?
Yeah, I'm actually in my home office in Boston, Massachusetts, or west of Boston. So,
Okay. Okay, out a little ways from the mothership in outside, what is it, Melville, right outside of right outside New
Melville,
York
New York.
City.
Yep, yep.
I'm sure you've been there many times. So we actually haven't met face to face, I don't think. You are, I guess you're still somewhat new to Canon, although you're starting to get your, more than your feet wet at this point. So why don't you give us a little bit about background about you and then the position. What do you do for Canon? What's your role there?
Yeah, sure. So, my background prior to Canon, I spent quite a number of years, 20 plus years in the OSS side of the industry. So, merchandising. I led up the merchandising team, mainly in the tech product category, services, B2C, B2B. Largest categories were obviously print and consumables. So did that for quite a few years, and came over to Canon a little over a year ago to head up their HSG sales division. So I'm the VP of sales, responsible for the B2C side, but more importantly, the B2B side on A4, print, inkjet laser, scanning, and some other imaging products that we have out in the market.
Wow, that's right up our alley, right? So my listeners, my viewers, people who've been watching this, so office equipment resellers, right? Traditional copier dealers are a big part of that. And so you've got quite an interesting product line for someone at Canon. So you have both ink and laser. Did I hear that right?
Yes, yeah. So, the business inkjet, which it can be a fit in the B2B space, and the consumer inkjet, and then yeah, the laser side as well.
So Canon has a huge reputation with our audience as being probably one of the most, if not the most premier brand, right? It's one of the best brands from recognition and all that that we cover. And that's an A3 though. That's what I would call your traditional copiers. Canon has um, has always made these A4s as long as I can remember covering you guys. But the big money, the big advertising in the past had always been on the A3s. There was a lot more money to be made. So we've seen such a shift over the years, especially with the pandemic. A4 has become way more important to the office equipment reseller, to the traditional dealer. And the shift has been with all of the OEMs, whether they've manufactured their own, or in many cases they've had to partner up. Now you've not had to partner up because you've always made your own. Let's talk about the shift from A3 to A4, what Canon's been seeing, and how you guys have been preparing for that over the years, and where do you find yourself today with this big shift that continues?
Yeah, and I think, to your point, you see the decentralization of print in the office, the hybrid work situation in the office. Obviously, that was exasperated and, kind of sped up by COVID and what happened there during the pandemic. So from our point of view, obviously, A3 is still a big part of our portfolio, a big part of our business. But it really gives us a unique opportunity, with our partners to really understand the office and the print environment, and have that total solution for the end user, for our partners, whether it's A3, A4. You see the A3 devices and the A4 devices working together, under one solution, which makes it easier as well from a functionality standpoint, a reliability standpoint. Canon hasn't been as strong in the A4 space on the dealer side. We've been much stronger, in that SMB and consumer space, who, we have really high share. But as we think about where the market is trending, and really honestly, what our partners are asking for and what our end users are asking for, um, A4 will be a big focus area for us into the future.
So it's yeah, that's clear. You guys are putting way more effort into it. I see product launch information, kits coming our way, and not just the traditional, I shouldn't call it traditional, but not just the laser. You guys have this it's called, I think it's the Maxify line, right? So you have an inkjet line too that's sort of creeping into the office. Um with the approach, is it still mostly laser for dealers? Are you starting to think a little more about inkjet? I know they get exposed to ink with a lot of your other products, whether it's production, whether it's large and wide format. Where does ink fit into A4 for your dealers down the road, do you think?
Yeah, and I mean certainly lasers is still, by far number one, but as
Oh yeah.
as we think about inkjet, the business inkjet side, particularly with the increase in the CIS technology or the tank technology, which really allows an aggressive and a pretty compelling TCO opportunity for smaller customers that may be more prone to use inkjet and it may fit in their environment better. So again, I view it's never going to overtake laser, but as you get into certain environments, and certainly inkjet, the business inkjet side, become the functionality, the reliability, the print quality can compare better with laser. Like I said, the compelling message around TCO, could fit some end users better than a laser.
Well, I agree. Inkjet it definitely has its place. We saw, one of the biggies walk away from it a little while ago at this point, and you guys are holding firm. We've seen another company enter this space, thinking there's a ton of opportunity here. As we move forward, what do you think some of these obstacles are? Look, so you worked, with your role at Staples, you got to see and support, customers in all areas, and you get to see what they bought, right? Whether they were gravitating towards ink or laser. What do you think it is about ink at this point that's still holding it back just in the general office? What's
Yeah, I
been the
still think,
obstacle?
yeah, I mean, I think there's some, legacy thinking around, print quality and what you can use the device for. I think there was a costs element involved, and now again, with the evolution of kind of that CIS technology, which is a pretty compelling TCO value prop to customers, they see it working. And again, I think the advent of, as we think about hybrid work and again, that decentralization particularly in the SMB space, in the mid-market space, that certainly there's opportunities where, it fits. Laser, particularly, in a managed environment is still obviously a better option. But down the road, I could see inkjet evolving, even in the managed space down the road where, the functionality and the ability to, read the machines and, auto replenishment and things like that will become more compelling and, I compete a little bit on the laser with the laser.
Well, the biggest challenge seems to be the customer's acceptance of it more than anything, right? I mean, to me, that seems to be where the fight needs to be held and it's an educational thing. But for you, it's not like you want to unsell laser because on the other side of it, you also sell laser. You mentioned remote, and that seems like a really good place for it. How much of this remote office, this partial, I'm working in my office half the time at my remote office, how much of this is still an opportunity? Where do you see people going? I don't see people running back to the office anytime soon. I do think maybe we'll get, another day back, 3 or 4 days for sure at some point, but that still means a day or two people are going to be at home. Are we done equipping the home office or are we just getting started? Where's that?
Yeah, I don't think we're done. I think it's going to evolve as people do head back to the office. In longer term, again, connecting that office print environment with the home print environment, from an auto replenishment standpoint, from a security standpoint, there's definitely questions from a corporate standpoint, as folks continue to work from home, to ensure that they can print, but again, there's big
Well,
focus
print,
on
scan, right? I mean, all of it. Like when you're away
yeah.
from your office, you need those tools that you take for granted. And by the way, those tools, when they're at your home, were set up hopefully by an IT person, by somebody who knew what they were doing, and they're set up securely. Um, Back to our point of working with this channel, and equipping a home office, not that you really are going to send technicians out to somebody's house necessarily, as much as maybe pre-bundled, pre-configured devices. Are you doing packages like that for dealers where they're able to just help a customer set something up real quick, plug in, and you're already kind of logged into our network? Is there some are there things you guys are doing in that area?
Yeah, it's early, and we're definitely doing some small things there because we do
Yep.
believe potentially there's an opportunity. There's inherent challenges with connectivity, network security, and things like that
Yeah.
that we need to be aware of and just make sure we have a solution so it's a good end user experience. But yeah, we are we do have solutions there. But again, it's pretty small today, and I do anticipate over time it will grow. As people get more connected to to the more of the home office, managing their print environment, which again when COVID hit, I think people were kind of on their own and they bought whatever was on the
Well,
shelf
yeah,
and
yeah.
then printed through Wi-Fi. So I think as that becomes more standardized, we'll definitely see opportunities.
Well, it's funny you say this, and it made me think, but we're 3 to 4 years in from, those initial home offices being sent up where people just ran to the store or went online to buy whatever they could get their hands on. And nothing from nothing, but we're kind of at the point where, 3, 4 years into owning a machine, it's time. A lot of people start thinking of renewals. There have been some updates, some upgrades to the devices. Maybe they're just sick of that device they bought because it didn't do everything they thought it would do, but they were stuck with it. It's kind of a nice time to consult. People, I think, are accepting the fact that their employees are not necessarily coming back full time anytime soon. And so maybe it's a good opportunity for people watching this to go talk to their customers about what are you doing long term for these remote workers? How are they set up for their print, for their scanning? Are they secure when they're doing it? Because that's the biggest issue, right? They get out of your domain, which is hard enough to protect them in anyways, and now they're home. And if they're just buying whatever they want willy-nilly and their kids are plugging things into USB drives and nobody knows what's going on and it's not set up, it's just bought off of Amazon and plugged in and used. There's a threat to that company when they come back to the office. So, I know a mountain out of a molehill of just buying a little printer to get your jobs done for a couple, 10, 20 prints a week that you might do, but it really could set off, a pretty a pretty incredible domino effect if somebody gets an infection from being at home and if it's not set up properly. So I've been saying all along, I thought the remote worker was a golden opportunity for our industry. No one's going to get rich,
Yeah.
off of selling one inkjet, one small desktop top printer. But people don't just buy one; they've got dozens, if not hundreds, of people at home they're trying to support. IT is trying to support these people that are now all over the map. It's a good time to be selling solutions. Right. And you guys have a bunch of them. So I did want to ask you before we move on too much about your program with A4. Now, I know with like Image Prograph, the wide format group, dealers can go pick that up on their own. So if you're a dealer with another brand, perhaps, and you're not an authorized Canon dealer, is this something with A4 they can come to you and say, look, I don't have a great A4 solution. I'm not a Canon dealer. I don't want to take Canon for A3, but is A4 available to them to pick up on its own? Is that something that you work with dealers to?
Yeah, potentially, absolutely. And we would, there's an approval process, of course, but yeah, we would absolutely listen and try to partner, particularly on the A4 side, 100%.
So where are you? I should ask this now. I'm sure you guys are fine at this point, but back orders and we had such supply issues last year. You guys actually did weather the storm comparatively well. I know you had some issues, but you got through it a little better than some others did. Where are you right now? Are things kind of moving right along, or are things humming? Are you still kind of a little worried about a few areas? How are you guys set up?
Yeah, no, we're really good on the supply and logistics side right now. And obviously, you can never be
Yeah,
100% happy. And there's the events happening in the world, et cetera,
yeah,
that could impact. But as of today, we're in really strong shape. Really across the lineup from a supply side standpoint. And again, no issues with logistics. So
very cool.
um, it's been good. Yeah, it's been very good.
Well, before I let you go, let's look down the pipeline a little bit about, 6 months, 12 months. Anything that you can share with us? Anything that you've got coming down the line that you're allowed to talk about? I know I'm going to see some stuff. Actually, Jake from our office is going to go to an event that you guys are having in Virginia shortly, and I don't know if he's going to see what he's going to see there, but he's going down there to see some product from you. What are we expected for your group?
Yeah, I mean, certainly on the product side, I can't get into everything, but from an A4 standpoint, definitely new devices, and we continue to improve on the already strong lineup that we have. Really taking feedback from our partners, from our dealer partners, and from our end users, where we can improve the products and make sure that it works in all the environments. I think for me, the most exciting thing, and I've sat now since I've started through a bunch of round tables with our partners and really listened. And as I think of the A4 space, we didn't really have a coordinated kind of go-to-market program on the A4 side, a message on the A4 side. Certainly, we leveraged the A3 side of the business. So I think what you'll be seeing from us here in the very near future is a much more um, comprehensive but simple program, particularly on the A4 side, that leverages, Canon's strength, program elements, our strong support structure, but really focused around simplicity and making it easy to partner with Canon and making it easy to sell to the end users so we can grow our collective business.
Well, you guys are, you've been a sleeping giant in A4 for a very long time. It's no secret that while you may not sell the most A4 printers with a Canon label on it, you sell technically more A4 engines than anyone on the planet. So, by a long shot. So, watching you guys over the years, I've just sort of been waiting for Canon to finally, take that step forward and start, pushing this product a little more strongly in this channel, and we've seen that in the last few years that you've picked it up. I do think you've got a big opportunity. We mentioned it earlier in this conversation that there's been a shift for years from A3 to A4, and the more customers realize that in most cases A4 is more than capable. In a lot, it generally does almost everything. A lot of the machines we compare, they're fast, they're robust, they can handle pretty extreme monthly volumes, as long as you don't need sophisticated finishing or A3 size 11 by 17 printing. A4 is a great alternative, and customers do seem to be figuring that out based on the way this shift has just the curve it just increases every few months. You look at it and it's more shift, more shift, more shift. So as that happens, I expect to see you guys continue to I wouldn't say be dominant, but definitely flex a little bit more and come out of your shell a little bit more. We've been watching you quietly launch a lot more products in this space, both on the inkjet side and then on the laser side as well. So it's exciting to watch, and now connecting with you, seeing somebody who's tasked with the A4 program. It's exciting to watch Canon, and so for the next year or so, we've got some big expectations from you, Eric. Um, Before I let you go, have you been visiting any of your dealers yet, or do you have plans to go out to the field and make some rounds and see what these guys think and what they need? Because that, to me, I know that's not your only channel. You said you're in B2C, so I imagine you cover a lot of different channels. But in this instance, have you been visiting the resellers, the office equipment resellers?
Yeah, I have, as much as I can. The good thing that we do on the A3 side, and we're partnering on the A4 side, is bringing in our partners and doing periodic roundtables. So being able to sit through that and just listen to our partners and the opportunities that we have to improve, and really, to your earlier comment, the opportunities to really leverage A3 and A4 together, and you know the uh the willingness and the ask of Canon to do more in the A4 space, because the dealer partners believe in Canon as a brand and as a product.
Well, Canon is been one of the most well-recognized brands in this space. It's everybody knows who Canon is, right? Whether it's from copiers or printers in our world, or more likely through the cameras, and it's just an iconic brand. A4 is one of the few hotspots in print still. It's still depending on how you quantify it, it is still growing. At least in this channel, it is growing. Honestly, I think with Oki pulling out a few years ago and just what's going on in our world, I think there's a lot of opportunity for somebody to sign up new dealers and to support dealers with A4. So you guys seem to be in a good space. No surprise, Canon is, you know, somehow always finds themselves in a pretty good space, I've noticed. You spend the most, I think, on R&D. It shows. And so it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
let you off with maybe one last shout out. Any last words that you want to share with anyone? But this has been great. I appreciate you coming on and talking with our audience today, and it was really good connecting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I look forward to connecting, with you and certainly your subscribers in the future as we continue to try to, help the end user and our dealer partners succeed.
It was great seeing you, Eric. Thank you so much
All
for coming on today, and we will talk soon. Take care.
right. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye.